Hey YouTube, this is day one of our Halloween Horror Nights trip. We just got back not too long ago. We're staying at the Marriott Residence Inn. I didn't mean to light up the refrigerator, but it's stainless steel, and no matter where I put these lights, it lights it up. Oh well.
It is what it is.
Yep.
All right.
So this is our first time in Halloween Horror Nights since 2011 for Halloween Horror Nights 21 with Lady Luck. There's no icon this year for some reason.
Yeah, if you could name an icon, I suppose it would be The Walking Dead, because they are everywhere.
Yeah, but they're not really an icon.
No, there's no specific
main
icon.
thing.
Yeah, but we are happy to be back. That was a good part. It looks like a really good year to go back. There was also a special treat. A friend of ours who we've been trying to get to go to Halloween Horror Nights with us for several years finally was able to make it and join us. So that was really good. That was nice, and broadened the experience.
So we can't tell you about all the houses because we didn't get to see all of them. We kind of had a late start, and tonight was one of those nights that ends at 12 a.m. So we got kind of cut off.
Yeah, we didn't have much time, and we spent a little bit of time on the new rides that are there.
Not much.
No, but yeah, we only hit 2 houses tonight and saw plenty of scare zones as usual.
Yep.
The first house we ever hit was Resident Evil: Escape from Raccoon City. And what did you think of that house, Dave?
It was okay. I've never watched any of the movies or played the games, so I don't really have much of an attachment to it. It's like, oh, okay.
Okay. Well, as a haunted house, without having any attachment to anything Resident Evil, did you like what you saw?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, cool. I have seen most of the Resident Evil movies. I think I've missed like 1 or 2. I've seen at least all the newest ones. I've never really played any of the games, but I know enough about the games that I was like, oh, look at that. Oh, there's Nemesis. Oh, look, the zombie dogs. And a lot of the iconic characters. The house focuses a lot on the video games, more so than the movies.
Which I guess kind of makes sense because, I mean, that's what it is. The movies just followed it.
Yeah, sure. So, you'll have to forgive me, Resident Evil fans, because I didn't play the games. I know one of the games, Nemesis chases you like through like the whole thing. So, in tribute to that, and it probably happens in several games. I don't know. I just know of Nemesis. He pops out a lot. He's popping out of a wall. He's shooting you with a chain gun. He's popping out at you later. It's a lot like the video game where you encounter him several times. Along with, there was a police officer, not a specific character, but a Raccoon City police officer shooting a zombie. And
Which was also another police officer, wasn't it?
Yeah, there were several. Yeah.
That was being shot. The police officer was a zombie. The little zombie was a police officer, wasn't it?
Yeah. The living officer was shooting a zombified officer. Yeah. Are we doing heavy spoilers this year at the end?
We can. Sorry about the air conditioning. I forgot to. Hopefully it won't come up on the audio, but I should have turned the temperature up. But oops.
Okay.
It just kicked on. And it's like, uh-oh. So.
All right, and moving on. Let's talk about the street experience of The Walking Dead. So.
Yes, and there's much to experience.
Yes. So this year there's no separate scare zones like they normally do. Like you would have like 5 or 6 scare zones all with a different theme. This year it's all one theme, The Walking Dead. There's certain zones where you'll always find zombies, but in addition to that, you also have zombies can just pop out anywhere. Like you don't have to be in a scare zone. Like we were actually walking out of a store and zombies were trying to pop into the doorway.
Yeah.
You know, it's really cool. I like the concept that, you know, nowhere is safe.
I went in the bathroom and walked in the stall, and there was a zombie that popped out of me there too.
Really?
No.
Oh, that would make sense. That would be very Zombieland, actually, if that happened.
It was a little annoying because they kind of get in your way a little bit.
Well, yeah, but that's the point. That's what they're supposed
Like,
to be doing.
you know, you're trying to get to one place to the other, and you know, we're running out of time, and it's like, oh, great.
Yeah, yeah. The upside of it is they seem to be a little more relaxed with it. You know, like most scare zones, like you know, the characters are very aggressive. You know, trying to pop out at you. Sometimes they do get in your way, like he said, but you know, sometimes you know they'll just walk right by you because you know they I guess have the understanding that, you know, like because they're everywhere. You know, like the whole place is a scare zone, and people are just trying to get to where they're going. You know,
And everything is a threat.
everything is a threat.
I didn't see any chain gangs or anything like that. You know, there's usually some sort of like people walking around in a line, not necessarily connected with a chain, but they've done that before. I didn't seem to see. I don't remember seeing any of those this time.
Yeah, and there was we didn't get a chance to like really check it out, but there was there was one chainsaw like group.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that's back. Yep. Most everything you see in the street is Living Dead. I mean, Walking Dead, and just zombies in various states. And we didn't get to check it out too much, but there was a group of chainsaw people. Did you notice if they were zombies?
I didn't. We were rushing to get.
Yeah, I think they were human. And there was a lady like in command, and she was on a bullhorn saying, "We are the resistance. We are going to kill everybody." And yeah, we're talking about things we don't know anything about because we didn't get to check it out.
But so the day 2, we should have more.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be going back tomorrow night, and it's night work stays until 2 a.m. We're going to be doing a lot more shooting in the park tomorrow too.
Yeah.
But we have 2 extra hours, and we're going to do our very best to be there at the gate by 6:30, so we don't miss an hour and a half to start, and then we'll have 2 hours at the end.
Yeah.
And we've already seen 2 houses, so
yeah,
should get through everything.
Cool.
So I didn't see any for Halloween Horror Nights. I didn't see any stilts, which is interesting because Universal Studios loves stilts.
Yeah, and I guess because of the excuse me, I guess because of The Walking Dead, like who's ever heard of a zombie on stilts? It could happen, I'm sure.
Oh, it definitely happened at Universal Studios if it happens.
Yeah, but yeah, that is a good point. Like, not a whole lot of stilt walking this year.
No.
We were in Universal during the daytime, and they were doing this, what I understand to be a kind of new thing. They were doing like a parade, and they had stilt walkers there. But yeah, for Halloween Horror Nights, yeah, no stilt walking this year, which may or may not be disappointing to you. I've always enjoyed them. Like the super tall characters.
Yeah. So the other one we saw was the American Werewolf in London in Florida.
Yes.
Which has a lot of those really, I don't like. I know I kind of understand the purpose of all the things that hang down that you have to walk through to get to one room to the other. It kind of makes it so you can't see in front of you, but it's also like, ew, how many people have walked past there and maybe hasn't showered in a few weeks, and I don't know, it's not very sanitary. I don't like it.
But
I think that was in that one.
Yeah, the heavy black curtains were in American Werewolf.
Yeah.
But out of the houses, well, we've only seen 2 houses, but so far, American Werewolf in London was my favorite.
Yeah. I do have a problem. Some of the stuff I find to be a little bit too loud to the point where it distorts and it's kind of irritating, and my ears are a little bit ringing.
Yeah.
But so as usual, there's always rides open. Of course, the roller coaster's always open. The Despicable Me, the Transformers, the Revenge of the Mummy, the Men in Black is usually always open, and the Simpsons ride is open.
Yeah.
And the Simpsons area, the new Simpsons area is open as well. The Carney games, the taco truck, stuff like that's open too.
There's now a Moe's in Universal Studios.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like.
That's what I said. The new area.
Yeah. Well, instead of just like Moe's and it's just a facade. You can't actually go in. It's actually a restaurant, and you've been in there, and
No, I didn't.
you didn't go in there.
It was closed. I said that.
Oh. Okay. Well, you seem to know the layout of the building. You said it. Actually.
I looked in the windows, but I haven't been in it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, why don't you tell them what you told me?
From what I saw when I looked inside, it's laid out pretty faithfully to the exact layout of the Moe's in the cartoon.
Cool.
And then there's like an area beyond that for extra seating. But when I was at Universal Studios last month, and that went through the area, but I guess it was too early for Moe's to be open, and I didn't get to go in.
Yeah. Going back to American Werewolf in London, that's so far my favorite house. I like the effects in there. The werewolf pops out like at several points,
Yeah.
and looks a lot like the movie from I think the 80s. And it was pretty loud in there. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But there was a surprise for fans of a certain British TV show. The TARDIS makes an appearance.
For I don't know what it has to do with that movie. I mean, I know it has to do with London, but I don't know if it has to do with werewolves. But it was in there.
Well, I suppose because it's in London and it's a police box. There was even like an old styled, British police officer with the bobby hat and blowing a whistle, and it even has the TARDIS door.
And the light.
Yeah, and the light with the free for use of public. Advice and assistance obtained immediately. Officers and cars respond to all calls. Pull to open, and that's exactly what it says in Doctor Who. I would think that somebody working on Halloween Horror Nights is a big Doctor Who fan, because in 2011 there was basically a weeping angel in Winter's Night.
So, like I said, we're going to see the rest of them tomorrow. Now, we'll say that Bill and Ted's Halloween Adventure was definitely excellent.
Yeah, very, very funny this year. Lots of good stuff.
Really good. It's one of the things we like about the show is it's just boom, 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 boom. Like this happens over here, this happens over here, that happens over there, that happens over there. There's so much stuff. It's a pretty good long show, but there's so many things happening over there and over there and over there. It just keeps going, and there's a lot to see. And the light show is pretty cool this year.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of the references.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but the funny thing is we went to dinner right before we went in, and a whole bunch of things that we were talking about and saw showed up in the Bill and Ted's. Like we ended up talking about. Well, maybe we'll do the spoilers.
Yeah, we'll do that for heavy spoilers. But basically, we've been paying attention to a lot of internet or things that have gone viral on the internet.
Which is what Bill and Ted is always. It's a year in review.
Yeah. But news stories, but a lot of things that the internet was paying attention to. That made it into this year's show, so a lot of funny stuff. Let's talk about the rides we went on.
All right, I guess that's about all we have right now.
Yeah.
For Halloween Horror Nights 23. Again, we'll be doing more tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
And so the rides aren't really Halloween Horror Nights, but it was they're open during Halloween Horror Nights, and it's this guy's first time on them.
Yeah.
So
We went on Despicable Me, and we went on the new Transformers 3D ride. Actually, Despicable Me is also 3D. I'm not a big Transformers movie franchise fan. I loved watching the old 80s cartoon show. What the hell year was the first movie? 2007?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was 2007 because it was some number. I remember it being 2007. It was like 747. It was July 4th, 2007 was the big premiere.
Oh, was that the one we went to, and it ended up like a day or two before?
Yeah.
It ended up being moved to July 3rd.
Yeah.
We went to the theater and nobody was there because they didn't know it was
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
And we got there like really early. Like, ooh, this could be a line. And then we get there, there's nobody.
Yeah. But I mean, I gave that movie a chance. It was all right. You know, the second movie I didn't really dig. You know, it's called Revenge of the Fallen, and the Fallen show up at the end of the movie, and they didn't get any revenge at all. So, like, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch the third movie. Like, I didn't go to the theater. I haven't seen it on DVD or anything. You know. That being said, the ride is actually pretty cool. I dig the ride.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. When you're waiting in line, who was the Autobot that was briefing us?
I don't remember. I know that Bumblebee was in there at one point.
Yeah.
There's a few of them.
Oh, I think it was Ironside.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I might be saying that wrong, but like while you're waiting in line, going like up and down the thing, you know, Ironside is, you know, talking to us like we're, you know, recruits for this organization called Nest, and he's like, look, you need to know your enemy. Here's the Decepticons, and they were doing something which I wish they did in the movies. They were actually like, you know, naming the Decepticons and saying like, look, here's what this guy does, here's what that guy does. In the movies, one thing I didn't like about it is you just Transformers shows up, does something, and you're like, okay, who is this? You know, nobody says, hey, look over there. It's, you know, like, you know, the little cat Decepticons named Ravage. You know, the giant, you know, helicopter Decepticon, you know, like they just show up and they do things, and it's like, oh no, it's so and so. It's like that's one of the things I didn't like about the movie is just, you know, Transformers show up and fight and blow things up, and that's about it. You know, I didn't really have a sense of immersion, and I couldn't, you know the characters because, you know, like things just kind of show up. But this is different. You know, like now I actually can, you know, see who I'm dealing with, and even in the ride, they're like, oh no, it's Ravage. He's in the base. We've got to do something. You know, and you know that, you know, the Autobot you're with is Evac, and you know, Optimus Prime shows up. You know, Megatron and Optimus Prime, those are obvious. You know who they are, even in the movies. Yeah. But like, you know, Optimus Prime, you know, I am Optimus Prime. Autobots roll out. Well, I'm Megatron, and this planet is mine. You Autobots can't stop me, you know, and that made it enjoyable because, you know, I kind of wish the ride was the way the movies are. But you're not really a Transformers fan either, so
I watched the cartoon back in the day, but when I saw the trailers for the movie, I'm like, that doesn't look like the Transformers.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess I'll see the first one anyway. So I saw the first one, I'm like, and the second one came out, and I said, I'm not bothering with that.
Yeah.
First one was terrible.
Yeah. And we also went on the Despicable Me ride.
Now you saw...
I saw the first Despicable Me.
Which I did not, but I saw the second one, so I had at least an idea of the characters.
Yeah, and I have not seen the second Despicable Me yet, but you don't need to. You just, yeah, if you've seen either movie, you know what's going on.
Yeah.
You got Gru.
Probably better if you see the first one, but you still get the idea of the characters seeing the second one.
Yeah. Basically, Gru, his 3 adopted daughters, and a lot of damn minions.
Yeah.
The concept of that ride is it's minion recruitment, and we're all volunteering to become minions and they've got an array that turns us into minions, and that's what we're doing. And we go through this obstacle course, and we have to like help save a present. It sounds a little silly, but like when you're actually on the ride, it's pretty cool, and a lot of fun. And both Transformers and Despicable Me rides were in 3D, and the 3D works really well.
Yep. Yeah, the screen isn't as immersive, but it seems to work after a while. It's just watching it. So no, what Mike said, and I agree, is that oh no, that was Harry Potter. Never mind. As I say, there was a contrast issue, but that was over Islands of Adventure. So what else do you have, Note Boy?
Let's see.
There weren't any roving shows this year either, which is too bad. Like that, I really like the Death Drums from 2 years ago, and we didn't go last year, so I don't know what was roaming around then.
Yeah.
But I don't believe there are any shows.
Bill and Ted, which is every year, and the second show is a Rocky Horror Picture Show tribute. I'm curious to check that out. I'm a Rocky Horror fan. You are not, but
no, that looks. I saw a few clips of it. It looks terrible.
Okay.
I'm not a musical fan.
Yeah. That's about it, except for a part of the Scare Zone theme. There's cars, abandoned cars, like in the Walking Dead show. Some have writing on them. Like one was Sophie. It was written on the windshield. Sophie, stay here. We will come back every day. And nobody's there, so you're like, okay, well, did somebody die? Did they die? Did Sophie die? And you just don't know.
What was Sophie's choice anyway?
Another thing that's noteworthy was my first year going to Halloween Horror Nights was in 2010, which was a great year to go. It was 20 Years of Fear. One of the houses was called Havoc, the Dogs of War.
Well, everything was a threat.
Yeah, everything was a threat. I liked that house. I liked the concept of that house. It was a super soldier, genetically enhanced concept, and they've gone just too crazy from the genetic enhancing, and like they think everything they need to fight. And you're going through like their base, and I like the concept of that house. There's a sequel this year.
Yes.
Called Havoc Derailed. And the concept of that is the Dogs of War, genetically engineered super soldier outfit, are bloodthirsty maniacs bent on destruction with their sights set on a speeding train. Now, I have heard that part of, this isn't really a spoiler, I heard part of that house is we're in that train. So, like, a lot of people have speculated that, like, it's narrow and there's plenty of spaces, for the characters to pop out at us. And I'm looking really forward to that house. I like the idea that they bring back houses and throw back houses and stuff.
I don't really, because one of the things I like about Halloween Horror Nights is that even if you go to Universal Studios a lot, although we were here 2 years ago and there's already 2 new rides in a whole new area.
Yeah.
So they do update it a lot, and there'll be the Harry Potter area pretty soon. Mm-hmm. But even if you come here a lot and you see everything in Universal Studios, what I like about Halloween Horror Nights is it's pretty much always different every year.
Yeah.
So you can come and you get a different experience, and like Walking Dead was I think last year as well, and when they do the same thing over again, I'm like, well, it's not as new. So. But
there's still plenty of new houses, like.
Yeah.
The Resident Evil house, I don't think they've ever done that, or at least in recent years. A brand new house, Afterlife, Death's Vengeance. Plenty of movie houses. We got 1, 2, 3. All right, 3 houses based on movies, 1 house based on a video game series, and 1 house based on a TV show. We got Cabin in the Woods, American Werewolf in London, and Evil Dead, all movies. Resident Evil video game series and Walking Dead TV show. So that leaves a brand new original house, a sequel house, and I believe La Lorena is a.
You know what that is, right?
That's the urban legend in Mexico.
The weeping woman.
Yeah, yeah.
That's actually, I don't think that's new this year, but I think they've done something with it before.
I think they did it in Universal Hollywood. It was a house a couple years ago, and I might be wrong about that, or maybe it's a house from Orlando from a few years ago. But it's I believe it's a throwback house. But I'm looking forward to that too. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think there are plenty of like new stuff to see. You do kind of have a point that they're with all the scare zones being like one big theme, and you know, like a sequel house. You know, like maybe it's a little disappointing to people to see, you know, things returning. But I like the idea.
Yeah. It was not as bad for us because we didn't go last year.
Right.
But so I mean, I guess that's enough for now.
Yeah.
So, you know, look for night 2. Probably be more tired because it'll be hours later than this one. But we'll go over all the rest of the stuff and check out the other videos that we're doing from Halloween Horror Nights on the channel. So.
Well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again.